Tony Ferguson versus Michael Chiesa is happening. Who's going to win this fight? Well, before we talk about who's going to win this fight, let's take a look at their latest performances, in which Tony Ferguson fought Bobby Green, in which Tony Ferguson dropped Bobby Green in round 1.
Quick combination for Bobby Green. Oh!
But Bobby Green was still outlanding Tony Ferguson, in which he then got him in an arm triangle choke and slapped Tony Ferguson in round 3.
Oh my goodness, this is tight. He's out cold!
After this, Tony Ferguson went on to fight Paddy Pimblett, in which Paddy Pimblett dropped Tony Ferguson in round 1.
Combinations. It goes down!
Paddy Pimblett had a lot of ground control, won every single round, and Paddy Pimblett ended up taking it by decision.
For the winner, by unanimous decision, Paddy!
Let's take a look at Michael's latest performances, in which he fought Sean Brady, in which Michael landed some great shots, but Sean Brady used his wrestling and grappling to take control of the fight, and Sean Brady ended up taking it by decision.
And still undefeated, Sean!
After this, Michael went on to fight Kevin Holland, in which Kevin Holland got him in a bravo choke and made him tap in round 1.
He's got it locked in.
Now, I understand why the UFC will make this fight happen, and that is simply because both men have been on a bad run. For example, we look at Tony Ferguson. He's currently on a 7-fight losing streak, but to be fair, 5 of those fights were against current ranked fighters like Justin Gaethje, Charles Oliveira, Benio DeRusse, Michael Chandler, and Bobby Green. So he has definitely been given the hardest fights, and considering he's 40 years old, it definitely makes sense on why he's been losing and losing. And when we look at Michael Chiesa, he's currently on a 3-fight losing streak, so not as bad as Tony Ferguson, but it's still pretty bad. But we can't forget that just because Tony Ferguson is 40 years old and is coming off a lot of losses, he is still Tony Ferguson, which is why the UFC is still interested in having him compete. But who's actually going to win this fight? Well, this fight highly favors Michael Chiesa, since he is the younger fighter, as he is 36 years old. And again, he's not coming off as many losses as Tony Ferguson. And before his 3-fight losing streak, he actually beat Neil Magny and Rafael dos Anjos, who are both ranked. But I think when it comes to striking, Tony Ferguson might actually be in control of this fight, and he actually might get the knockout, since Michael Chiesa has no wins by knockout. So in the end, I think it makes the most sense for Michael Chiesa to win this fight, since he is the younger fighter, and a 3-fight losing streak isn't so bad, so he still has a chance to have somewhat of a career in the UFC. But who knows, Tony Ferguson might actually still have the heart to take the win.